Some ideas don't hit you like a shock when you first read them. At first, they can even feel ordinary. But time passes. Life happens. People repeat the same patterns just with different faces. And one day you notice you don't react the same way anymore. You don't look at the same people with the same eyes. What once felt normal starts to look naive, even dangerous. That's how real transformation happens, quietly, slowly, and irreversibly. For me, Niccolò Machiavelli entered my life at exactly that point. He doesn't sell you hope. He doesn't comfort you. He doesn't teach you how to be a better person. Instead, he does something far more unsettling. He shows you how people actually behave, how they change in the presence of power, how they shrink under fear, how they shift direction when self-interest appears. And his difference is simple. He doesn't accept the world as it should be. He accepts it as it is. He doesn't explain how humans can be good. He studies why they so often aren't. That's why his words aren't comforting. They're transformative. Over time, you start realizing something. The things that challenge you aren't always bad luck, not a cursed fate, not just wrong people. Most of the time it's this. You're positioned wrong. You're sending the wrong signals. You're looking for power in the wrong place. This video is exactly about that. I'm not going to teach you how to be more moral. I'm not going to teach you how to be more well-intentioned, because the world doesn't run on those questions. I'm going to show you what people truly respond to, what they respect, what they treat as an opportunity, what they interpret as weakness. And I'll share the 5 laws of power that became turning points for me. These aren't theories. They're quiet but harsh truths confirmed again and again in real life. When you apply them, the room changes. People's approach to you changes. When you don't apply them, you pay the price. Sometimes through lost respect. Sometimes through violated boundaries. Sometimes by asking yourself, why is it always me who sacrifices? These laws won't make you colder, but they will make you clearer, less explaining, less defending, less being consumed. It may not look dramatic from the outside, but the impact is deep. This isn't a motivation talk. Motivation is temporary. It lifts you today, fades tomorrow. This is an awakening, a perspective that permanently sharpens your awareness of yourself, people, and power. If you've lived through any of this, this video is for you. If you felt your kindness was exploited, if you gave a lot but received no respect, if silence got you crushed and speaking up got you blamed, if you kept wondering why being right still put you on the losing side, the answer isn't to be nicer. Most of the time, the answer is stand in the right position. Now we move to the 5 laws. 1 warning first. These ideas may not comfort you, but they will clarify you. And in the long run, clarity is always power. Point 1. Power isn't displayed. It's felt. Real power doesn't shout. It doesn't try to prove itself, because displayed power gets measured. Measured power gets compared. Compared power gets tested. Human nature works that way. The more you announce your strength, the more you reveal where you can be pressured. And the person who constantly shows themselves doesn't look strong. They look like someone trying, and effort is usually linked not to power, but to need. People don't sit and analyze this logically, but they sense it. If someone needs to prove their power, something is missing. That's why power grows in silence and shrinks in noise. Noise draws attention, but it doesn't produce respect. Silence looks invisibly. It creates space in people's minds. In a room where everyone is talking, the one who can stay quiet shifts the balance without being noticed. Because silence creates a vacuum, and the mind rushes to fill it. What are they thinking? Did they notice something? Do they have a plan? There are no clear answers, but the questions remain, and questions make people careful. The lesson is simple. Don't explain your power. Leave it in the open space. Let people finish the story in their own head. Because what people believe about you is often stronger than what you say about yourself. What you say can sound like defense, but perception moves ahead of reality. Silence is not passivity. Silence is not surrendering control, it's hiding control. Point 2. Closeness creates love. Distance creates respect. Being close to everyone can look like a virtue. It feels warm. It feels kind. but it rarely produces power. Power requires selectivity. What is open to everyone is special to no one. Being available can make you liked, but respect doesn't come from the same place as affection. What is close gets consumed. What is distant gets wondered about. The mind values what is rare. What is always within reach becomes ordinary. But what you must wait for grows in your head. When someone can reach you anytime, they unconsciously learn they're always here. I'll come back later, and later slowly turns into indifference. Indifference is the natural enemy of respect. You'll notice something the day you stop answering. Everything. People start thinking more, because absence speaks louder than presence, and silence weighs more than explanation. Distance doesn't make you lose people. It filters the wrong ones. Wrong people can't tolerate distance because they want access to your time, your energy, your attention. Right people understand. Distance and often respect it. Power is deciding who comes in and who stays out. Mercy becomes weakness when it has no limits. This is the most uncomfortable land, the most realistic law. Mercy alone isn't a virtue. When it isn't controlled, it becomes a form of weakness. Not everyone reads mercy with the same maturity. Some see it as wisdom. Others see it as no boundaries. Human nature tests. How far can I go? What will be tolerated? A behavior forgiven once becomes a habit the second time. By the third time, it becomes a right. The message is harsh but clear. People often don't behave based on your intentions. They behave based on your boundaries. Boundaries mean consequences. Where there are no consequences, behavior doesn't change. Selective mercy asks, who is truly remorseful? Who takes responsibility? Who actually changes? And who only wants forgiveness? Withdrawing mercy isn't cruelty. Sometimes it's self-protection, because someone who can't protect themselves eventually becomes useless to everyone. Power isn't being emotionless, it's being able to manage emotion. People don't remember your words, they remember your repeated behavior. Words are cheap, because anyone can talk. But behavior has a cost. You can doubt what someone says, but you decide based on what you see. The person who explains themselves tries to persuade. The person who acts consistently builds position. Persuasion is temporary. Position is permanent. Consistency is everything. One strong moment doesn't impress anyone, but the same line, held again and again, creates a pattern in people's minds. They test you once. They observe the second time. They decide the third. And once they decide, they stop pushing as hard. That's why excessive explaining isn't power. Explanation often sounds like defense, and defense smells like a lower position. Clear action doesn't create debate. Debate assumes equality. Authority creates hierarchy quietly through repeated behavior. 5. It's not fear, it's uncertainty that deters. This is the most misunderstood part. Fear is not a goal, not a personality, and never a performance used correctly. It creates order. Used wrongly, it creates chaos. Psychology is simple. The loved person gets tested. The tolerated person gets pushed, because comfort loosens boundaries. But when consequences are possible, behavior slows down. People start asking, if I do this, what happens? And the thing that makes people think is the thing that creates control. Here's the key. Fear isn't created by shouting. It isn't created by threats. Threats reveal intention. And once intention is revealed, the other side prepares. Prepared people don't fear you, just trigger strategy. True deterrence is often uncertainty. Not knowing when you'll respond. Not knowing what you will tolerate. Feeling a line exists without knowing exactly where it is. Uncertainty only works when paired with consistency. If you're harsh all the time, it becomes normal. And what becomes normal stops deterring. It only repels, so reduce your reactions, but clarify your consequences. Don't answer everything, but when you do respond, make the line permanent. Write this down. Power isn't a talent. It isn't a personality trait. Power is a position built through deliberate choices. Noise is often camouflage for weakness. The need to constantly explain is a sign you're not being felt. These 5 laws changed my life because they didn't comfort me. They clarified me. I realized my good intentions weren't always virtue sometimes. They were a lack of control. My constant explaining wasn't transparencies. Sometimes it was missing boundaries. My constant availability wasn't humility. Sometimes it was loss of position. The world responds not to your intention, but to your position. If you keep feeling, why don't people take me seriously? Why are my words dismissed? Why are my boundaries tested? The problem isn't that you're good. The problem is where you stand. Good people positioned weakly can be crushed, not only by bad people, but even by ordinary people with firm boundaries. Because the system often works this way. This teaching won't make you cruel. It won't make you cold. It won't make you hate people. It teaches one thing. You can't save everyone. You can't please everyone. And the moment you try, you sacrifice your position. The winners aren't the ones who talk the most, or explain the most, or defend the most. The winners are the ones who are felt. The ones whose presence is calculated. The ones whose line is clear, whose reaction is chosen. Real power doesn't explain itself, because it doesn't need to. In a room, the strongest person is often the quietest because everyone aligns around them. If this video helped you connect the dots, stay here. In the next one, we'll talk about why people test you and how to turn those tests into a permanent advantage. Thank you for listening. To support the channel and keep these videos coming, like the video and subscribe. See you in the next one.